This is a voice note I didn't know I needed to record. Welcome to the part of the podcast where I put the astrology books down and pick up the mic. Lately, I've been thinking about what it means to wait for the right moment. And I say that as someone who spent the past 3 years waiting for one. I have surgery scheduled for July the 7th, and it's something I've known I've needed to do since 2022. But I stalled, I overthought, I circled it. I waited for a sign from the stars, from my body, from life. There was a lot wrapped up in this decision: fertility questions, timing, business, self-worth. So I held off. I kept hoping something cosmic might shift the scales for me. But as this year began, the year I chose revival as my word, I knew deep down I wasn't meant to keep waiting. I had to create the moment I was searching for. And here's what I know now. The longer you hold yourself in a pattern of waiting, the heavier it becomes. That holding pattern can be debilitating. And while I wish I'd leapt sooner, I also know I had to come to this decision on my own terms. A few weeks ago, I had a psychic medium reading, and she didn't know anything about the surgery. I hadn't mentioned it, but she looked at me and said, "Once you go through with this, your entire life will shift." And in that moment, I realized something I've always known but needed to hear again. Everything is waiting to unfold on the other side of the leap. Now, most of the time, when someone says they're waiting for a sign, they've already made a decision. They just want confirmation. They want permission. They want something or someone to reflect back what they already feel, but don't fully trust it yet. And that's what I see in almost every astrology reading that I do. People already know. They just want to be mirrored. For someone to say, yes, you're not crazy for wanting this. Astrology doesn't tell you who you are. It reminds you of what you already know. Now, because of all of these insights that I've been percolating on lately, I've been really thinking about the difference between clarity and trust. Clarity is that full-bodied yes, that flash of knowing. Trust, though, it's what you practice when you don't have all the answers. It's moving even when the path isn't guaranteed. It's choosing yourself even in the grey area. And that's where most people freeze. They think if they wait long enough, the perfect timing will arrive. But the truth is, it might not. Waiting will cost you. It costs you time, and time is the only thing we never get back. But it's also what makes us beautifully, messily human. We stall, we loop, we distract, and sometimes that's part of the process. But the key is knowing when your pause becomes procrastination. I love signs. You know I do. I think we're being sent signs all day long, but we miss most of them because we're in our heads or we're glued to our screens. We forget to look up, and sometimes you don't need to look up. You just need to look in. Ask for a sign from your body. Breathe into the question. Listen to how your nervous system responds. Because if there's one thing I've learned, that's your sign. That's your truth. Because truth doesn't come from outside of you. It comes from within. Which is why I'm so obsessed about using stellar influences as a way to create strategy. This is why I created AstroStrategy, because astrology without action is just more information. Astrology becomes empowering when you do something with it, when you integrate it, when you stop outsourcing your timeline to a planet in retrograde and start living like the version of you who's already in motion. I really want people to unlearn that a sign has to be something mystical or dramatic, because sometimes it's a text that hits at the right time, a song lyric, a question you ask yourself and finally answer honestly. Sometimes the sign is your longing. If someone says to me, I'm just waiting for the right moment, I'll ask, what does the right moment actually look like? Because often we're waiting for certainty when what we need is courage. And while life is really black or white, not everything is a hell yes or a hard no. There is always a next step that feels honest, that feels kind, that feels like you. So, no, I don't think you need another sign. You just need to trust the one you've already been given. And maybe that sign is you.